Good morning. This is a mock hearing before the Board of Veterans' Appeals. It is presented by the staff of Avard Law Offices. The presenters are not real judges and they are not real veterans. However, the attorney is a member of the firm of Avard Law. Good morning, Mr. Beecher. I am Judge Avard, presiding over your claim for disability compensation benefits. Today is July 4th, 2020. Mr. Beecher, I see you have a representative present in the hearing room. Representative of the vet, could you please introduce yourself?
I'm attorney Doug Mooney with Avard Law Offices in Cape Coral, Florida.
Thank you. I understand that you know what the procedures are here. Do I need to read those procedures to you again?
We do not, Judge.
Okay. As you know, we discussed in our pre-hearing conference that we have 5 issues to talk about today. The first issue is entitlement to an increased rating for tinnitus. Mr. Beecher is presently service-connected for 0%. The second issue is an increased rating for hearing loss. He is presently rated at 10%. The third issue is an increased service connection rating for degenerative lumbar arthritis presently at 10% disabling. The fourth issue is an increased rating for depression, presently evaluated at 10%. And the fifth issue is service connection for PTSD and a rating for that disorder. I understand you are also asking me to determine entitlement to TDIU, which is total disability based on individual unemployability. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have reviewed all of the C-file evidence in your claim for veterans' disability benefits. Is the file complete, or do you have any additional evidence you would like to submit?
Your Honor, the record is complete at this time.
I will now swear you in, Mr. Beecher. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give at this hearing shall be the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury? And again, you need to raise your right hand.
I'm sorry, Judge, are you talking to me?
Mr. Beecher, I will speak in a loud voice. I will now swear you in, Mr. Beecher. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give at this hearing shall be the truth and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do, Judge.
Very good. I will also turn it over to your attorney, Mr. Mooney. Do you wish to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Thank you. Your Honor, my client today is Army veteran Dennis Beecher, who was in the Gulf War. He served in Saudi Arabia and in combat in Kuwait in 1990 and 1991. Pursuant to 38 USCS sections 1155 as well as 38 CFR section 3.4B1, he is seeking increases in his service connection disorders. For his tinnitus, his hearing loss, his lumbar musculoskeletal disorder with arthritis, PTSD, and depression. The combination of his impairments, Judge, will show that he is 100% disabled. Dennis will testify that his tinnitus is bilateral, that he has ringing in his ears. He has a buzzing and a roaring and a clicking that's recurrent. It happens multiple times during the day, Judge, and interferes with just about every activity he does. His symptoms are multiple days a month on average, sometimes many days a week. He also suffers from hearing loss, Judge, which under the code is a separate disorder, and we have submitted an expert audiologist opinion documenting testing thresholds and the required frequencies of 4,000 hertz with 40 decibels or greater, and his auditory thresholds for at least 3 of the frequencies are 26 decibels or greater. And unfortunately for Dennis, his speech recognition scores are less than 9%, Judge. We will need to speak, as you've seen, in a very loud voice so that Dennis can hear us and understand us. The vet has hearing loss in both ears, and we argue that he's entitled to compensation beyond the 100% scheduled rating through the special monthly compensation, or the SMC benefit. Because Dennis's work in the service involved driving a truck, working around jets, being a helicopter gunner, jumping out of helicopters to search for dead and injured soldiers. All of these impairments affect his ability to work. He would be entitled to total disability based on TDIU, or total, individual unemployability, under 38 CFR 4.16a. Mr. Beecher also suffers from a musculoskeletal back disorder, Your Honor, that has resulted in crippling arthritis, which is also service-connected. He has status post multiple surgeries, Judge. He has scars, spinal muscle damage, nerve damage, and limitation of motion. His scars alone should be assessed at a 10% rating for disfigurement, and he's requesting a 10% rating for painful and tenderness, as well as an additional 10% for muscle injury, all revolving around the scars and the surgeries he's had. We have x-ray findings in the file, Your Honor, that show arthritis, and with his limitation of motion, he should likewise be assessed a 10% rating for that disorder. Dennis will testify that his pain is productive of functional loss of strength, coordination, and endurance. We have submitted range of motion testing from his treating physician that documents the decreased motion in his lumbar spine. In addition, the vet should have a separate rating for the radiating pain or radiculopathy and the numbness that goes all the way down into his right leg. Finally, Your Honor, Mr. Beecher suffers from PTSD and is requesting service connection and rating as outlined in 38 CFR section 4.130. Dennis has supplied documentation of his diagnosis from both his VA psychiatrist. In addition, we have reports from private independent evaluating psychiatrists for his depression, which shows he has the symptomatology and loss of function that would warrant a 70% rating by the VA. Again, Judge, the disabling impairments from all of these conditions should render him entitled to TDIU benefits pursuant to 38 CFR section 4.16 sub A. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Mooney. That was excellent. And you have now clarified the issues for me. You may turn the questioning over to your veteran, and I may ask some questions after you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. All right, Dennis, can you hear me?
A little bit.
All right, Dennis, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to focus on, for now, your tinnitus and your hearing loss for the judge, okay?
Okay.
They've already been established as service-connected, but what I need you to do is tell the judge how these problems affect you. So, describe for Judge Avard the problems you have with your tinnitus.
So I have a ringing, sometimes clicking or buzzing sound in both ears. It happens at least every week, sometimes more. It makes it very difficult to concentrate on anything. I can't read a book or watch TV. Sometimes it'll last for days at a time when it happens. If it's going on with the noise, I can't have a conversation with my partner for very long without asking her to repeat what she said. I always have the same problem if I try and talk on the phone. Sometimes it'll help if I just go and lie down and try and relax.
All right, Dennis. Now tell the judge a little bit about how the hearing issues have affected your ability to work.
So I've tried since I left the service to do some odd jobs for friends, but when they tell me what to do, I can't even hear them. High-pitched noises are really bad for me. If I hear sirens or telephones ringing, that really bothers the ringing noise. My doctor said it's permanent, and I've tried some hearing aids, but they don't do anything about the ringing.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your back. You also have a problem with your lumbar spine. So please tell Judge Avard how your back problems interfere with your daily activities and describe how the problems in your back limit you.
So the pain in my back is just as bad for concentrating. Even if my ears aren't bothering me, I can't sit still to watch TV. I can't sit still to read a book. There's muscle damage around the spine that means that sometimes I'll lose my balance. I can't sit for very long without needing to stand up and move around. I can't walk for very long without needing to sit down because of the pain that shoots down my right leg. I always use a cane now if I'm standing or walking around. My doctor at the VA actually had to prescribe this for me. And I've tried pain meds for the problems, but they always just make me sleepy and I can't get anything done during the day on those.
Can you tell us a little bit more about maybe the limitations around the house that your back affects you and keeps you from doing?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis. I need to speak up. Can you tell the court a little bit more about the limitations that your back causes, for example, for things to do around the house or other household chores or activities?
So it's really hard to do anything around the house. I used to take care of all my own yard work. I used to take care of chores around the house, taking out the garbage. Now my girlfriend has to do all that stuff, or we have to hire someone to cut the yard. I can't bend over to pick anything up. If it weighs more than 10 pounds, I wouldn't even try it. I have pain that shoots down into my leg. Makes it very difficult for me to climb stairs. When I go to the grocery store, I have to use one of the electric carts because I can't walk around the store. I can only pick up small items in the store. If I tried to get a case of soda, it's too heavy for me. My doctor said that the condition is going to be permanent unless I have another surgery. But I've already had 2 surgeries and neither of them made it any better, so I really don't want to have anything more. I originally hurt my back jumping out of helicopters.
Now, Dennis, I want to move to some more sensitive issues, and that is your problems with PTSD, mental health issues. Now, you were diagnosed with PTSD when you came out of the service. So, first of all, can you describe for the judge, when you were in the Army, what your jobs were? What were the things that you did that have caused you PTSD?
So I was mainly trained as a helicopter gunner, but we also had to do rescue missions for casualties. We'd have to jump out of helicopters in order to go down and recover people. This was back when we were fighting in Iraq and Kuwait. The nightmares started while I was still over there, and since I've been out of the service, they've just gotten worse. I'm jumpy all the time. I have panic attacks. I have a fear of flying. The psychiatrist that I saw at the VA after I got out diagnosed me with PTSD.
All right, Dennis, can you tell us a little bit more about the mental problems you have and the symptoms that are affecting you on a daily basis since being out of the service?
So I have the nightmares all the time now. I have flashbacks of the injured and the dead that we were trying to recover. I feel really guilty that I'm alive and they're gone. I have social problems that cause me a lot of problems with my family. I have to avoid any kind of groups of people. When I go to the grocery store, I have to go very late at night so there's no one else around. You actually had me get a couple of statements from buddies in the service. They can kind of tell you a little bit about what it was like for us over there.
All right, now I want to ask you a few more questions about that, but if you're upset or we need to take a break or something like that, or you feel like you're prepared to continue?
I think I can get it done. I just want to go home and lay down.
All right. Please continue. Tell us a little bit more about the situations and the problems you have.
My doctors have prescribed me different medications, but none of them have helped with the flashbacks or the nightmares. I'm depressed all the time. I'm worried about money, and I can't do any work. I blow up at people and get angry at little tiny things. I can't be bothered to take care of myself sometime. I won't shower or brush my teeth for days. I've been in the hospital 3 times for talking about killing myself. It's made it impossible for me to keep any kind of relationships. I've been divorced 3 times now. Sometimes it's all I can do to get through a day.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. Your Honor, I don't have any further questions for the veteran.
Okay, I only have a few questions for the veteran. I understand that you've had 3 marriages. As you said, you couldn't maintain those relationships, so they suffered divorces. that probably affected your children. Have you been seeing your children at all, your 3 children?
I see them, but only once or twice a year, maybe for birthdays or Christmas. Even talking on the phone with them is difficult. I don't want to blow up and get angry at my family.
Okay. Your file says that you have 3 children from different wives. I would like you to talk about how often you see each one of those children.
It's about the same for all 3. It makes me uncomfortable to be around people, even my own family.
And are they afraid of you?
Yes, I have. The reason that we don't see each other very often is because I have blown up at them before. I know that it makes them worried.
Thank you. Attorney Mooney, do you have any further questions?
No, Your Honor, I have no further questions of Mr. Beecher.
And would you like to make a closing argument?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Your Honor, the veteran's testimony and the records show that he's entitled to increases in his service connection ratings for his tinnitus, his hearing loss, the lumbar musculoskeletal disorder with arthritis, his PTSD, and his depression. The combination of these impairments clearly show that he is 100% disabled. The vet has substantially and frequently and consistently documented that he meets the requirements for increases in both hearing loss and tinnitus. We have expert audiologist report and his testimony today that show that he has the hearing loss, that shows that he has the tinnitus, and that shows that he's entitled to compensation beyond the 100% scheduled rating through the special monthly compensation benefit. Because Dennis's training and his experience consisted of driving a truck, plane work, trying to recover soldiers that were killed, he would be entitled to clearly PTSD and depression. As he showed the court today, he frequently couldn't hear the questions we were asking him. We're in a quiet setting, Judge. With his back disorder, it's resulted in arthritis. As he testified, he's had 2 disc fusions in his back with recommendations for a 3rd. He has scars, he has muscle damage, nerve damage, and limitations with his range of motion. His scars alone warrant 10%. The disfigurement and the pain warrant 10%, and he also warrants an additional 10% solely for the muscle injury. The x-ray findings show arthritis, and with his limitation of range of motion, this would be another 10% solely on the lumbomusculoskeletal rating, Judge. Dennis testified his pain is productive of functional loss of strength, of loss of coordination and endurance. And he submitted range of motion testing from his treating physicians. And again, these were treating physicians at the VA, Judge, that showed marked decrease in motion in the lumbar spine. In addition, there should also be a separate consideration for ratings for his radiating pain and numbness down from his back into his right leg. And finally, Judge, due to the horrors of war, like many of our soldiers, Dennis is suffering from PTSD that is service-connected. This is proven by both what he did in the service, by his buddy statements, and by the VA's own records. His VA psychiatrist diagnosis, Dennis's testimony, and the private psychiatric evaluations all established that he suffers from this condition, and in fact established that his depression and PTSD merits a combined rating of at least 70%. Again, Judge, all of his disabling impairments render Dennis entitled to TDIU benefits in accordance with 38 CFR section 4.16 sub A. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for that closing argument and your appearance here today. I will be issuing my decision as soon as possible. I may send your case back to the VA regional office. This is called a remand, if I find that they need to correct some errors that they may have made, or I may grant or deny your appeal. Thank you for serving our country, Mr. Beecher, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Judge.